Hey guys, so I'm here with another video. I just recorded my last video. I just finished recording another video about my eating disorder, my addiction to food, how it affects my life. It was mostly me just rambling on. In short, it's just like eating disorders is just not fun. It's an addiction. It sucks. And if you want to see that, just watch that video. I'm not going to go into it here, but in this video, I thought I would talk about how I became homeless. Because I'm actually not sure if I've even answered that question on my channel. I have many videos on my on this YouTube channel about me being homeless, but I don't think I've ever talked about how I became homeless. So how I became homeless. Um, so I was put into the adoption system like foster care when I was like really little. Um, I'm not quite sure how old I was when I went into foster care, but my birth parents were both originally from Mexico, and they like came to America, and so like I don't know, I don't really know a whole lot about my birth parents. I can talk about my birth parents in another video because there's actually some interesting things to talk about there. Like, but I've never, well, it used to be I would have said that I'd never met my birth parents, but within the last year, I actually did meet my birth dad for the first time, and we've been in contact for about not quite a year. But that's another video. Anyway, I went into foster care when I was really little, and I went into a couple of different foster homes and foster families. But the family that I finally ended up in a permanent foster home when I was like 4 or 5. I don't remember. Now this foster family, they were not very nice people. They were neglectful, abusive. Um, I had two birth siblings. I had uh, my biological parents. They had 3 children. Um, it was me, my birth sister, and my other birth sisters, and I was the middle child. But my older sister, she had Down syndrome. So when I was adopted, me and my little sister were adopted together into this family of like 7. And so my older sister, she went off somewhere else. When I won't talk about that now, but that's another long story. So me and my little sister grew up in this foster home with like 7 kids, including us two. And it was we grew up in this really big white house, and it was old and it was falling apart, and our birth parents were not good people. They were not good people. They neglected us. They abused us. They yelled at us a lot. They made my little sister cry a lot growing up. And growing up, I always sort of felt like, I was always like trying to be a good big brother, and like, me and my little sister, we were all we had, and we weren't really happy there. I definitely wasn't happy there, but I was trying to be strong for my little sister. So growing up, I would try and protect her a lot because they would make her cry a lot. They were really mean. They were really mean to her. And uh, long story short, I am 18 or 17. I don't remember how old I was whenever they finally kicked me out. One day, I was in college at the time, and one day I'm coming home from college, and finally, they had been telling me that like they really didn't like me, and I didn't like them, and they knew that, and I guess one day, they, I knew it was going to happen eventually, that one day they'd kick me out. They had an interesting thing. And one of the other foster siblings that were there, my foster parent actually, my foster uh, mother, I guess, she kicked this other sibling out. Who was the oldest. They kicked her out too, and so I knew that they were not above kicking their foster children out. And then so they kicked her out because whatever reasons. I won't go into that, but eventually it comes to me, and I was the third oldest in this pod, I guess. And one day I come home from college. There's some boxes on my bed, and they look at me and they tell me to get out. And I pack all my things. That I didn't have. I had not a lot of things, but enough. But I had to go to my room, and luckily at the time I was investing in building an art studio because I wanted to be an artist. I was going to college. And at the same time I was trying to invest in building an art studio because I wanted to be an artist. It was a stupid dream. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, now I'm not really into art now. I never do anything with art now. But at the time, that's what I wanted to do. I thought that was my future, but it wasn't. But luckily, at the time, I was investing in building an art studio. And I had managed to buy a really cheap car that was like really old. It was like older than I am. And I had bought this car for like, what was it, like 500? I was working part-time at the college. So I managed to buy this car, really old car, for $500, I think. And it was old. Like, I think you can even see it in one of my old videos, but I'm not even sure. It was an old car. So luckily I had my car, fortunately. So I had two things going for me whenever they finally decided to kick me out. I had a car that I could put my stuff in, and I had my art studio that I could move into. And so I remember as I'm moving all my stuff out, it was kind of a cold night, and I'm going to my room and to my car as quickly as I can with these boxes and bags. And and since I knew this was coming, it actually didn't take me that long to pack up because a lot of my stuff was already packed up because I knew this day was coming. So a lot of my stuff was already packed up, but I took some time to get a few extra odds and ends, things that I didn't want to leave behind. And there were a lot of things that I did have to leave behind, that I didn't have any choice but to leave behind, like some artwork. I was into art at the time, and I had to leave some of my artwork behind, and I had to make some sacrifices. So eventually, and as I'm going in and out to my room and to my my car, they're yelling at me. Like, they're seriously yelling at me to, like, if you walk out that door, you're not coming back or whatever. And I'll never forget the last thing they said to me. What was it? It's kind of fuzzy now. It's sort of like remembering a bad dream. I've tried so hard to forget it. I've actually had hypnosis done to try and forget it. This time in my life, being homeless, what happened. But the last thing they ever said to me was like something along the lines of, as soon as you walk out that door, don't ever come back again. That was the last thing that they said to me. And I didn't. I never went back. And I've never had the desire to. And then from that day on, I had moved all my stuff into this art studio I was in. And then a few months later, the old ass card that I got, within like weeks, like I had just gotten that card too, and like within a week, that car died on me. So now it's just me, my stuff, and this art studio. And I don't have a car anymore because it broke down. The guy I bought it from, who was also my landlord, well, not landlord, but the guy I was running this art studio from, he sold it to me, and it broke down on me, and he gave me my money back, meaning that the value of the car, he just took it off my rent or whatever that I was paying for the studio. So now it's just me in my studio. And a thing about the studio, it didn't have a bathroom, shower, or anything, like a sink or anything that would even remote. It didn't have a kitchen, anything to cook. It didn't have anything. It was just a storage room. Like, it did not have anything that would be proper for anyone to live in. I was sleeping on the floor most of the time. For a long time, I was just sleeping on the floor, and then eventually I invested in a camping mattress that I just laid on the floor, and so I could sleep on that. Like for a long time, it was just me. I would just roll some blankets on the ground, and that's what I slept on. Some blankets, and then I would have like one blanket that I would use to cover myself up with, and that had maybe I'd use my jacket or my bags as like a pillow. So that was and then that's how I became homeless basically. Like it wasn't a fun time. And I was living in a storage room that a lot of times the bathroom situation too really sucked because there was no bathroom, and then the only source of light was either the fluorescent lights, which were bright as fuck, and a little bitty window in the back, which let in like a little bit of stream of light, a little bit of light in every morning around a certain time for like a few minutes. And so I was living in this dark. That's why in my other videos you can see a lot of Christmas lights in the background. See, I invested in a lot of Christmas lights because they weren't as harsh on my eyes as they were as the bright ass fluorescent lights were on the ceiling. So in a lot of my videos you can see Christmas lights in the background because I thought the lighting was much softer and warmer on my eyes. It didn't make me feel like I was in a panic room. But the bathroom situation, a lot of times, if it wasn't daytime, I'd try to take care of that business at the college. And if it's in the middle of the night, and I was a night owl too, I've always been a night owl. So like if I need to take a piss, that was an easier thing to take care of. Like there's an alley right outside my my storage room, and if it was nighttime, I could go piss out there, or if it was daytime, every bottle that I bought, like a Gatorade or a juice bottle that I got from like a gas station or whatever, I would save those, and I would pee in those during the day. If I was at home in my studio storage room, I'd pee in those, and then whenever it got dark, I'd pour those out in the I'd empty them in the alley. And then, but if I had to do number two, and it was nighttime, and that sucked even more because if I had to take care of that business in the middle of the night, again, there's no bathroom. If I had to take care of that business, I would have to walk like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 blocks to a 24-hour Casey's gas station. So I had to sort of anticipate it. If I'd have to really like try not to let that happen. So I would try to take care of that earlier during the day. But if I had to take care of that business in the middle of the night, I had to walk like 4 blocks to a gas station and take care of that in their bathroom. But yeah, being homeless, it sucked, and hopefully I'll never have to go back. Now I'm actually trying to buy a house. I'm thinking maybe later this year, within the year of 2021, I'll be able to buy a house. I just got to save up enough money to get a proper loan for a house, and I've come a long way since then. And soon, hopefully, later this year, I'll be able to actually buy an actual house, which is a huge dream of mine. And yeah, hopefully those days are behind me for good. So yeah, that's the end of this video. That's the story about how I became homeless. It's kind of a sad story. I was just dealt a bad hand growing up, and I had some bad luck. And the worst thing about it is though that this all happened in like a really small town too. So a lot of people knew I was homeless. A lot of people that I grew up with who always treated me like family, like this community of people that always treated me like family, suddenly they acted like I didn't exist. It's like suddenly I didn't exist anymore. I was invisible. Nobody gave a fuck. And so that would probably hurt more than anything. And I went through some really dark times during that time too, because I made a video. The first video I ever made was me talking about my suicide attempt. I stole a gun, held it to my head, and I can still remember that deeply, the weight of that gun next to my head. I tried to commit suicide. I was arrested for stealing a gun, and they didn't give a shit either that I tried to commit suicide. Like, they were just focused, oh, you stole a gun, and like they didn't even give a fuck about the fact that I tried to commit suicide, even though there was evidence of that, like evidence of me telling the truth. Like because I'd left a note and everything, but they just disregarded the note. So like I had this note, and it's a long story too. You can watch that video. But then I was arrested, was put on probation and all this shit, and it's just the fact that I just felt so betrayed by this community of people that I thought was my friends. I thought they were my friends, and then they just acted like I didn't exist anymore. Like as soon as I was homeless, and the people that kicked me out, they just got away with it. Nobody, they never got in trouble for that. They've done a lot of things that they should be in trouble for, but they've never been caught for anything. And at this point, it's just not even worth it. Nobody knows just like just what it's the dark things that I've really been through. And I don't know, just it's like everyone who's ever wronged me basically got away with it, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that's something you just can't understand unless you've been through it. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Maybe I'll make some more videos. I don't know, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video.